everyone, welcome to Finding Joy in the Mundane. I am your host, Aya Nichols, and today I have my friend Lauren here to help me talk about a really hard topic. It's about trauma, and we are really excited to talk about this because I feel like we just really have a deep sense of what it is. So she got her degree in social work, and I've been working in the mental health field for a long time. So I'm really excited about this. Thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So what do you think of trauma when that subject comes up?
Gosh, I mean, so many things. When you think of trauma, I mean, for me, like, I always think of, when you have, like, an accident, like a car accident, and you experience all this, bruising, and then you go in for, like, a scan, and they can see, like, the internal bleeding and the, all the internal trauma.
Yeah.
When I think of, like, other forms of trauma that's not necessarily, a car accident, I think of that same type of, internal just tension that it does to our bodies and how it can look the same a lot of times.
Yeah, we were talking about this before taping, how even though you weren't even physically abused, like the emotional trauma on the inside could look just as bruised as the outside.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So the sticks and stones...
They really can break your bones.
They really can.
and words can hurt too.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So I wanted to touch on like what trauma actually, like the definition of it. Mm-hmm. And I came across this definition that I really liked. It says that trauma is not just an event that happened in the past. It's an event that happened that's also imprinted on you, on your mind, on your body, that follows you and continues to shape who you are after. So it's not something that you can just let go of. It becomes a part of you. And I think that's why it's so hard for a lot of people who have been traumatized to express that and to let go of the things that have happened to them.
Yeah.
And when you haven't experienced that before, people don't understand, why can't you just let it go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And having those words to say, well, like, now it's a part of me. And not to say they want that to be a part of them.
Yeah, sometimes you're not even given an option.
No, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to trauma, I mean, and everything that we experience, it shapes who we are.
Yeah.
That creates our worldview, and how we view the world. And then when it's trauma, when it's a traumatic experience or a long-term traumatic experience over and over and over, whether it's physical or emotional, that definitely becomes who we are because, in those moments, I mean, everything else just kind of ceases to exist except for that trauma that we're going through. And so, it becomes who we are. And no, we can't let it go, and at least not easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't just change the way we think or how we think. Mm-hmm. It changes our ability to think. Mm-hmm. Like that physical ability to process thought and emotion all in the same time. Mm-hmm. It reduces our ability to be able to handle that kind of stimulus. Mm-hmm. Because most of the time, if you've been through a traumatic event and it stayed with you, that means it's already a part of that system and that everything else is just piling on top. Mm-hmm. So often, people who have been traumatized are overstimulated and overloaded emotionally, and that takes a physical toll as well. Mm. And we see that a lot whenever, when someone's been through some physical trauma, whenever someone sneaks up on them, they flinch. Mm.
Yeah.
Usually that's a normal, a person walking up to you is a normal thing. I still flinch with Sam. If he were to do something too quick, and we've been married over 6 years.
Yeah.
So it is definitely something that knowing that is going to be a part of me now does help me process it. It doesn't make me feel like I'm a weirdo for still flinching. But the fact that I still am just shows the long-term effects of it.
Yeah. So you've been married for 6 years, over 6 years now, to Sam, and you still flinch, if he sneaks up on you too quickly or moves too fast doing something, and to not be alone in that, knowing that there's other people that are just like that, as they're experiencing new things on the other side of trauma. I mean, that has to be kind of encouraging, right?
Yeah, because it's not easy after being traumatized to experience new things.
Yeah.
Because once you've experienced that, then that's the lens you see the world and experience every new event in your life. It's like every experience is contaminated by this one event. And that sucks. Because, like, I remember on my wedding day, I was a hot mess. I was sitting there doing jumping jacks in my wedding dress.
Because
really? I was so anxious, and I was literally thinking that Sam was gonna die, like, and that the whole world was falling because.
Why?
Because my past has told me that, like, good things don't happen. That, like, that's what my brain has been conditioned, and this was before, like, really my treatment. So yeah, I was so nervous. He wanted to go to Waffle House with his friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it. He's going to die on the way there or on the way back. So I
had no idea.
Yeah. Like, whenever I think back on that day, like, I always think of so many emotions all being brought together. And I wouldn't say it was the happiest day of my life, just because I don't think I would have been able to differentiate my emotions then.
Yeah. Living in that moment. Because you were seeing everything through.
All at once.
Yeah. All those mixed emotions.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So the only thing that I can honestly remember is fear. That is my number one emotion on my wedding day. And then after it was over, relief.
Thank goodness it's over.
Goodness, we're alive.
He didn't die. He made it to Waffle House and back.
He made it to Waffle House. He came back. He actually came back. So it was good. But to have every experience after that, like, just be contaminated, that is disheartening, especially, like, to hear, because it's like, how do you ever overcome that?
Yeah.
And how do you actually move on with your life?
Yeah. Well, how have you? Like, do you feel like you have?
I think it's taken a long time for me to be able to move past the trauma that I've experienced, just because I've had different layers of trauma. And mine started very early on, like childhood trauma. And I think that really had an effect on who I am as a person and how I saw the world from a very young age. So I was conditioned with my trauma. And that in itself, I think, has a much bigger effect than experiencing trauma in adulthood.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about that. Like, I don't know how much you want to share, like, about what you've experienced, but, like, talk a little bit about that.
I think growing up, I experienced a lot of different types of trauma because I was born in a terrorist state. And because of that, it was high levels. We were under attack, bombings in Lebanon. And with that high stress, my mother developed schizophrenia. So she developed that before I was even born. So the minute I was born, it was to an unstable mother.
And you were the first, right?
The first woman, the first girl.
Okay.
My brother was the first.
That's right.
So he did experience, we were only 11 months apart, but we did experience the brunt of her mental illness because she was very unpredictable and chaotic. And because of that, I never attached. That, like, those attachment stages that you go through when you were young, that was not a thing. I attached more to my brother and to my sisters because I had to. They were more safe. My father was in the pharmacy working a lot, so he was gone from sun up to sundown. So even though my siblings weren't the most healthy connections, they were the only ones I had. And then growing up and then becoming, like, a teenager, taking on the role of mother for my sisters, and then my brother taking on that role of head household, it really changed the dynamic of how we saw each other and how we saw ourselves. Because at that point, I just saw myself as a servant to him and someone that was just meant to survive. Like, the thought of having a good life, like going to college, doing all of, like, dreams, was never a thing in my mind.
Kind of just went away.
Yeah. And I was reading Body Keeps the Score, and that was something that they mentioned, was that trauma affects your imagination. It, like, impairs it. So if you can't even imagine a better future for yourself, then you can't have hope. You can't have, like, that sense of things will get better.
Right, yeah. Yeah, if you can't even imagine a better future, you can't even manifest it. Yeah.
So when you're stuck like that, I think it just really limits on who you can be. Because I was just mainly stuck on being whoever I needed to be to survive. Once we came to America, I think that's when the physical abuse and sexual abuse really started. And I was around 12 at that time. So those were my first experiences of intimacy, of love, and...
Of love. Let's be...
Love.
Yeah. Like, quote unquote. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah. Like, not real. Yeah.
But that's what I attributed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a very long time, up until I probably met Sam when I was 23, to really start understanding what love is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could not attribute like that physical affection or that kind of even like family love. Like I could not comprehend how both of them could exist at the same time.
Right. Yeah, because this sexual abuse was someone you knew. It wasn't some stranger.
No. It was a family member. So it was something that, you trusted, and
an authority figure.
And you never thought that would happen within that system. But once it does, it changes the way you see the world and experience the world.
Yeah. And crazy enough, like 1 in 8 girls, 1 in 8 will experience that before they're 18.
Yeah.
1 in 8 will experience some kind of sexual abuse, sexual assault. Yeah. And 1 in 4 times that's somebody that they know.
Yeah.
And those types of statistics are mind-boggling to me. And it's things that we don't talk about enough. I know. In the school system, in the church, in 4 walls of a house, you don't talk about it enough. Because, you look into a classroom of kids, and at least 2 or 3 of those girls will experience it if they haven't already.
By a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the worst part that comes with that is the fact that it comes with so much shame, as well as that instinct to protect. To want to protect that person.
Right.
Because, again, like, they're a person you trusted. There's a reason why you trusted them. And, you never want to put someone under the bus, like, especially, like, get them in trouble, or what if someone didn't believe you?
Right. You're conditioned to, you've trusted this person up until that point, and, they've probably made you believe that, this is normal, or no one's going to believe you, like you said, or, if somebody did find out, you would be the one out on the streets, you would be the one reaping the consequences, not that person.
Yeah.
And, fear mongering. So.
And that's what holds a lot of people back from even acknowledging their abuse.
Yeah.
Because even acknowledging it puts them in danger, puts the other person in danger.
Yeah.
And that's just another traumatic thing.
Yeah.
So it's almost a protection mechanism that is still hurting you in the long run. Whether we want to remember or not, whether our bodies will always remember.
Always. And it will present itself oftentimes at the most inconvenient times.
100%.
Like you will get triggered, and I think of I have a family member that I've never told you this. I have a family member that was sexually abused by someone in her family. For years, and she told another adult in her life that she trusted, and that adult did nothing. And the only reason that this abuse stopped was because her abuser died.
Wow.
I think he had a heart attack, or I don't know. That to this day, that abuse will present itself at the worst times, the trauma from that abuse, and those repercussions presents itself in these emotional distraught states, and pushing people away because you don't trust people, or just presents itself in so many different ways.
I remember when I was going through EMDR, I was learning a lot about how that event had stayed within my body, it affected my body. And I had some sort of understanding of that until while I was doing MDR, you relive through things. Mm-hmm. So everything feels very fresh. And even after you're done with the EMDR session, it continues on throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And it can be triggered throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. And so it was like Sam was just trying to give me a hug or something late at night. And I don't know what it was, but my body responded to the way where my mind went straight back to where it was. It didn't understand where it was. And then I started seizing. Like, physically seizing. I have never had a seizure in my life. And this, like, we ended up going to the hospital, going to the ER, and I stayed there for 5 hours with my body shaking like that. They could not understand why. They were like, is this, like, a medication reaction? Have you changed? Have you eaten something?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And once I told my therapist, she was like, that was the trauma leaving your body.
Wow. And, like, it's crazy that the ER doctors didn't have that training to understand
Exactly
that type of therapy.
Yeah.
Like, that's mind-boggling to me.
They literally just sent me home.
They're literally like, we don't have any medicine that can fix trauma.
Yeah.
Because our only medicine can just kind of numb it.
Yeah.
But, like, literally EMDR is, like, helping you reprocess it.
Yeah.
And, like, work through it.
Yes.
Not numb the pain.
Not numb the pain. I never thought that would be something that would happen with me, like, going through my treatment. And that required my recovery.
Yeah.
And once I experienced that, I realized that our bodies continue holding that energy, that pressure, that story. And when I say, like, it imprints on you, it imprints on every part of you. So when it does come to a time to where you are working through it and are trying to recover from it, you will re-experience it again. And the hope and the good thing is that when you do re-experience it, you're stronger and you're with someone who can help ground you and help you overcome it now.
Like your therapist
like
or
your
something?
therapist.
Yeah, okay.
And help you realize that this was in the past. That this isn't happening right now. So that way your mind will know to let it go.
Yeah.
And after that, honestly, I haven't been as triggered by it ever since. It really was a release that I would never want to re-experience again, but I'm glad it happened and that it's over with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like now,
Wow.
because that's happened, I have the freedom to move on with my life.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want other survivors to be able to do, is, like, be able to move on with their life and make new experiences without being contaminated by this one event that you had no control over. So I think that's why it's really important to just have these conversations.
Yeah, definitely. And just to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since there's a lot of stigma behind abuse. And being open about it is really hard. And if I didn't have good friends like you, I wouldn't be doing this. So I appreciate you always being there for me, like, for me to share my story with you, and, like, the way you've accepted me despite all of the meanness.
There's nothing to be like, despite all of.
Well, like, you know, like with my eating disorder, when that came on full-fledged,
we
like,
love you.
I mean, that's why I missed your wedding. So it does affect people and your friendships, and I appreciate you being and sticking with me through that.
Of course. But speaking of, I mean, so how did, like, you developed that eating disorder from your trauma, right?
Yeah.
Like, talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
Well, I think eating disorders can develop because of our culture today. And we will do an episode on just eating disorders because of how ingrained it is within our culture.
Right.
But having it stemming from trauma, it was a lot harder to treat because it went beyond just me wanting to look good. It went straight to me feeling safe within my body. And that was something that my trauma had taken from me. I was never able to feel that safety, that grounding within my own body. It was something I always wanted to leave or control or even attack. And I think a lot of people who had experienced physical or sexual trauma develop these internal mechanisms to where they're attacking themselves because they don't know how else to process it.
Yeah, like autoimmune diseases?
Yes, like
okay.
autoimmune diseases. I think it's like 68% of people who have been sexually abused develop some sort of autoimmune because that's the only framework their body knows at that point, is like that attack on itself.
Wow.
Because it's so hyper vigilant on anything that could attack it that it would rather attack itself to keep it safe.
Anything that looks like it might be a threat is a threat.
Yes. And living in that constant hypertension is so bad for your health physically. And we just say that, oh, that's just because, you're experiencing some physical issues.
Yeah.
Well, that's straight because of your trauma.
Yeah.
And that could be years after.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what really happened. It really changed the way I saw myself. Mm-hmm. And I would live my life just trying to protect myself from all kinds of different traumas that could possibly happen. Mm-hmm. And even though I wasn't necessarily in danger of them, I would much rather be prepared than experience that again.
Yeah.
And no one can live a life like that.
You were staying on the defensive.
Defensive, always. And like there was no rest.
Mm-hmm.
And when your body is going through that much adrenaline, that much energy all the time, it's exhausting. Mm. And that's why it's so hard to even live in the present, because you're so worried about what happened in the past and you trying to prevent it now that you don't care what you're experiencing. You know, whether it's like a joyful thing or a sad thing.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't turn into something that had happened or a fearful thing, mm-hmm. then it's okay.
Yeah. You're just focused on preventing that from happening again.
Yeah.
Wow. Or avoiding that triggering moment or anything like that. You can't even like enjoy those like your wedding day, like you talked about a minute ago. I mean, you weren't even really able to enjoy that day because you were so worried about what could go wrong.
Exactly. And even with just developing relationships before I was married, mm-hmm. I think I sabotaged every relationship that I could have possibly had before Sam.
Oh, like a significant other type of relationship?
Yes.
Or okay.
I'm pretty sure I scared them away.
Well, I mean, it worked out.
It worked out 100%. But, like, back then, I look back and, like, I was so scared of the relationship not working out or whatever happens that I would be overly attached or overly, like, in their face about it. Mm-hmm. Because I felt so much insecurity, so much of that I have to protect myself. To where I just drove them away. And I was fine with that.
Yeah. You would rather drive them away and know where you stood rather than not know where you stand.
Yes.
And I think we're all like that to an extent, but like I think it's heightened. Yeah. Like when you've been through something like you've been through, and that's sexual abuse especially. Like just
that's why honestly meeting Sam and marrying him was the scariest thing I've ever done. Mm-hmm. Till this day. Because he entered a territory that no man has ever dared to enter.
He's awesome for it.
He is awesome for it. And he was so patient and understanding that nothing I did scared him. Even when I told him that he had to marry me after 2 weeks of dating, he had to marry me within 6 months or else I'm not willing to do this. He even took a minute.
I love this story.
He took a minute and was like, that's a bit much.
Didn't y'all like break up for like a weekend or something?
A weekend! We broke up for a weekend because, he needed to figure it out.
He was like, I need to think about this.
Yeah.
You need to sleep on this.
And he came back and he was like, okay. And like, even in the midst of dating, all the different anxieties, all the different things that I would bring up, he would just take it so graciously and gently that it helped calm me down. Mm-hmm. And that's what led to my ultimate recovery in marriage. Mm-hmm. Because marriage was the first time that I experienced this final safe and stable environment. And I didn't know how to live in it. That was the issue.
You didn't know what to do. You're like, what is this?
I'm so used to chaos. Like, my body knows chaos. I know chaos. So, like, living a normal, happy, stable life was so foreign to the point where it felt bad. Like, it didn't feel good. Yeah. And it felt like I was somewhere where I didn't belong and that I was in the wrong place always. And I saw myself, like, treating Sam badly for other people's mistakes.
What do you mean?
So, like, in marriage, early on, you're still learning each other. Yeah. So, like, a simple thing like him not wanting to do the dishes and him, like, walking away because I was nagging him. That would be an entire explosion early on because he's walking away from me. He's gonna leave me. Also, there was the thoughts of he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about our relationship. Why wouldn't he do the dishes? And all of that, like, imagine that. Like, I couldn't be able to just get mad at him over dishes. It was, I got mad at him over dishes and then my father's abandonment and then my abuse.
It all just kind of compiled.
And it all went directly at him.
Yeah, he was the scapegoat.
He was the scapegoat, always. And he loved it. He loved me so much that he took it. And at one point, that's what made me go into treatment, was me realizing I'm hurting him. I'm not wanting to, but I am.
What made you realize that? Like, did he say something? Like, did you all have a conversation? Or did you just, like, wake up one day and God was like, hey, Aya, knock, knock, look, like...
Honestly, like, it took... Again, Sam is a very loving person. It wasn't until I was starting to hurt myself to the point where I was endangering my own life that he finally drew the straw.
Sam did?
Yeah. He was the one that put me in treatment.
Good.
Because he knew that if he were to step up like that and say that to me, I would go. So 2 years in our marriage, half of that was me deep in my eating disorder hurting myself, and the other half was my family members like convincing me, trying to take me to treatment, and me refusing and me denying. And after a while, they started putting that on him because they were like, you see her wasting away and you see her hurting herself, but you're not doing anything about it. And to him, he was protecting me.
Yeah.
To him, he was giving me the time that I've constantly asked for. That I'm like, it's not time. It's not time. Until finally, like, he had to be that person to be like, it's time. And I almost left him that day. I almost left him for putting me in treatment.
So glad you didn't. I wouldn't have no friends.
No, like, I packed up my stuff, like, because... So that day, he called a treatment center in Arizona, and they got me admitted, and I had to be there within 5 days. I was so upset. I packed up my bags. I was like, I can't believe you're sending me away. You're just like everyone else in my life. You don't want to deal with me. And that's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't see that I was hurting myself, and I was hurting him, and I was hurting the people that I loved. All I knew is I was living in my trauma. So there was no perspective. So I got in my car and I left. And I remember driving around Asheville, and the thing that got me was I'm sitting here driving around, and the only person I wanted to talk to was Sam. And when I realized that,
you were like, well, I gotta go.
Well, what other option did I have? Because he was my safe place.
Yeah. So
I went back to my safe place, and he obviously graciously, he handled it so well. And we made a pact that I'm not allowed to leave like that anymore.
You've done that before.
I have.
You've done that since then.
I have. In my treatment. Because, me running away.
You have done that within the past 12 months.
Yes. Get me triggered enough, and yes, I do have that, like, fight or flight. And if that flight is activated, I am gone. I will come back.
Hey, that's what he said that day. When I called him, I said, do we need to go find her? And he was like, nah, she'll come back.
Exactly.
I was like, he is too nonchalant for me.
Because, now it takes a lot to activate it.
Yeah.
But if
that was a lot that day, though.
It was. So, like, if it does get activated, yes. So just to say, even when you are in recovery,
it can still happen. You can
still be triggered.
It can still happen.
That's why it's a lifelong thing.
Yeah. But it's good to have a support system.
Yes.
And you've got that.
And I know myself now to where I'm like, okay, I can come back and be like, that wasn't good. That wasn't the best reaction. Let's talk about why I got to that point.
Let's not do that again.
Let's not try to get that point again. And then we're able to move on and, continue having a happy marriage and have Mia and be able to be good parents. But at one time, that would have destroyed me and would have destroyed the relationships I had, and I would have let it. So learning a lot about the trauma that I have experienced and how it affects me and how it affected the people around me has really helped me have a better perspective, because then for a split second, I really can look beyond myself and see the other person experiencing it. And I think once a person's able to do that, they would have much more control over the trigger and over their emotions.
Yeah, their reaction to it. Yeah. I think that's God's grace, man. Like, that's God
Always
right there.
God.
Like, we couldn't, there's no way that, like, we could work through it on our own, I feel like. Like, what you've been through, like...
And regain hope.
Yeah, like, He is the source of our hope. And you bring so much joy into the mundane.
So much joy in the mundane. Well, that's where our life is in the mundane.
Yes.
So thank you, Lauren, for joining me, and I'm excited to have you again next week, where we talk about and dive in more about verbal and emotional abuse and trauma and how that really affects us.
It'll be a good conversation to have.
It will be. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.